friend doing science, Greg Nicholas. So Greg, I'll pass it over to you.
Hey, thanks, Mike. Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for being here on behalf of myself and my colleague, Yami Shimojo. We support Region 10 as well as Riverside County with science and STEM. We pulled this science activity off of the Exploratorium Science Snacks. You will have access to this PowerPoint, and the straw oboe here at the top is actually a hot link to go to these science snacks. The science snacks are really cool because they use everyday material that you could find pretty much anywhere, and they're great for distance learning and getting kids engaged in some of the science processing. With this science snack, we're going to look at the science and engineering practice of modeling. Modeling is important in the next generation science standards because the science standards are highly scaffolded, as well as the modeling. Modeling starts in the earliest as kindergarten grades, and by the time they get to middle school, 24%, I believe, of the standards have to do with modeling in some way or the other. The cross-cutting concept here would be cause and effect, but I think with the cross-cutting concepts within the next generation science standards, all 7 of the cross-cutting concepts are in play at any given time. But really, we're going to look at the K-12 progression of Physical Science 4, which deals with wave properties. And what's kind of cool about this, the only 2 things you need here really are a plastic straw and a pair of scissors to make this oboe. And you basically make a reed out of the tip of the end, and you blow in it, and the pieces vibrate, and it makes some sound. And then, of course, the kids can do all kinds of explorations from there. They could poke holes in the straw and see if that changes the pitch. They could use a wider diameter or a more narrow diameter straw. They could use a longer straw. And I think all of that plays to the fact of, like I said before, that the next generation science standards are highly scaffolded. So that, for example, TK2, the idea is that sound can make matter vibrate, and vibrating matter can make sound. So it starts off with that fundamental notion of vibrating matter and transferring sound. And then when they get to 3.5, they actually show that waves are regular patterns of motion and that can actually make things move. And then as they matriculate into middle school, they start to get into some vocabulary as far as amplitude and wavelength and frequency, and that mechanical waves need a medium to vibrate through, and that the waves can actually transmit energy. And when they get to high school, they get into more of the abstract and how waves can actually transmit information and energy. So again, the whole idea here is that we're starting with something foundational. As we matriculate, we dip in, we kick it up a notch, we dip in, we kick it up a notch, and so forth. So again, I think that what we see is that with this idea of PS4 wave properties, kids get in at the earliest levels, and then they keep adding to their knowledge and then demonstrating that knowledge as they go forward. Another thing too is that we really like this idea of phenomena, and remembering that phenomena does not have to be phenomenal. I see my friend Carrie Isbell out there. We use that a lot. Hi, Carrie. And the fact is that just blowing through a straw and causing it to buzz doesn't have to be phenomenal. And along those lines, and especially because this is phase 1 of our distance learning webinar series, that we want to start simple. We want to start simple because the kids perhaps aren't used to learning in a distance learning model, and the fact that teachers aren't necessarily used to teaching that way, and parents aren't used to really being able to support it in that way. So we go very simple. So we put together a little claim evidence reasoning lesson that supports science literacy. And you could use any source of text for this, but a really good one and a free one is readworks.org. So I put it up on the page, where you can go and get pretty much any subject matter material. It's Lexiled. I believe it's translatable into Spanish, and it has all different sorts of topics in there where you can actually select a grade appropriate article. The kids could then practice a little close reading and write down a claim that's being made about a science concept in the article. The students then could state the claim and do some research. Depending upon the grade level, depending upon how many different credible sources and how you would like them to research the sources, I just use at least 3 different sources, because in science, we're constantly trying to deal with how probable a claim would be. And then actually reason through your research evidence by writing more than 250 words that supports or disputes the claim. And again, the 250 words is just sort of a benchmark, where if it was younger kids, you could use less. a few more, but I think the idea also of being able to condense information is important. And again, this readily translates to the ELD standards as well. In this practice or this lesson, we would actually be supporting the next generation science standard engineering practices of engaging in argument from evidence and or obtaining, evaluating, communicating information. So there's that part of it. But again, there's all kinds of different ways you could go from this. You could have kids record themselves presenting this information. You could go in a number of different ways and have the kids continue this. And we will continue this in later episodes as we go to phase 2 and phase 3 of our learning, distance learning webinar. So I hope that's helpful for myself and Yami Shimojo. If you need any help or information with regards to science or STEM, please do not hesitate to contact us. We'll get back with you as soon as we can.